All right, for our last video for this unit, we're going to talk about perpendicular lines. And in the previous video, we talked about parallel lines and how parallel lines do not intersect. And because they're parallel and they don't cross, they had the same slope. Now, perpendicular lines do intersect, and perpendicular lines actually intersect at a right angle. So the axes on the graph are actually perpendicular lines because they're crossing at a right angle. That's what perpendicular means. And at the top of the notes, it says that perpendicular lines, two lines that intersect to form a right angle. That's what perpendicular is. And it says if two non-vertical lines have slopes that are negative reciprocals, then they are perpendicular to each other. What a negative reciprocal is, to be negative means that they have different signs. Sometimes I like to say opposite reciprocals. So you're going to see one slope be positive and one slope be negative. So I might have like a negative 1/3 and a positive 3/1, or just a positive 3. Those are negatives of each other. They're opposite signs, and they're reciprocals of each other. A reciprocal, remember, is when we flip the fraction over. So we would say that negative 1/3 and positive 3 are negative reciprocals. I can have a positive 3/4 and a negative 4/3. Those would be examples of negative reciprocals. They have different signs and they're flipped. The fractions are flipped. If I had a positive 2, the negative reciprocal, that would be a negative 1/2. You'd be putting 2/1 and then you'd be flipping it over. So these are all examples of, if these were slopes that we were seeing, these would be perpendicular lines if they had those different slopes. Okay, so example 1, it says graph each line in the same coordinate plane. So this first equation is in slope-intercept form for me. So I'm going to start with the b value, or the y-intercept. It's going to cross at -2. And then it has a slope of 2/3. Well, the slope 2/3 means that I'm going to rise 2 and run 3. Rise 2 and run 3, about right here. Okay, so there's one line, and then I'm going to change colors for the second line. To graph this line right here, it says it's going to have a b value of +4. So I'm starting up here at +4. And then my slope is a -3/2. Okay, when I have a negative slope, I can put the negative with the top number, and I could go down 3 and to the right 2. Or I could put the negative with the bottom number, and that means I would go up 3 and left 2. Now that's going to take me off the graph, but look at this. If I go up from that second point, if I go up 3 and left 2, I hit that same point. Okay, so those are going to be your perpendicular lines, and if you look at it, you know, they look like they're crossing. That's a right angle right there. That's why they're perpendicular to each other. Okay, let's look at the bottom of these notes. Okay, it says write an equation in slope-intercept form for the line that passes through the given point and is perpendicular to the given line. So slope-intercept form, again, we're going to be in this y equals mx plus b form. So the two pieces of the puzzle that I need to know what m is going to be, and I need to find my b value so that I can write my equation. Okay, the first thing you want to ask yourself is, well, what is the slope of the line that's given to me? And the slope of that line is 2. Okay, m equals 2 there. Now I'm not going to use the same slope like I did with parallel lines because perpendicular lines have negative reciprocals. So I'm going to change the sign of it, and I'm going to take the reciprocal of 2, which is 1/2. So I'm going to use a slope of -1/2, and then to calculate my b value, we do the same thing that we've been doing all chapter long. This is my x value, this is my y value. I'm going to plug them in, say -5 equals, my slope is a -1/2, and my x value is 4 plus b. Then I'm going to calculate that. So I get -5 equals -1/2 times 4/1. That'd be a -4/2, which is a -2, plus b. So I'm going to add 2 to both sides and get -3 equals b. So my b value is -3. Now that I have my m and I have my b, I'm going to erase this for some room here. Okay, the equation that I would write for letter A then would be y equals -1/2 x minus 3. That would be the equation of the line that is perpendicular to the line given and going through the point 4, negative 5. Okay, if on like letter B, you can't read the slope. Okay, we're not in slope-intercept form here, so I don't know what the slope is in order to take the negative reciprocal, but I can take that equation and I can put it in slope-intercept form. So I'm going to subtract 2x from both sides. That leaves me with 7y equals negative 2x plus 7. And then I'm going to divide by 7. And make sure you divide everything by 7. So I get y equals, negative 2 doesn't divide by 7, so we just leave it as a fraction. 7 divided by 7 is 1. So that is the equation of the line that was given, but now I've put it in slope-intercept form. So I want to use a slope and a b value. I want to find my b value. I am not going to use that same slope. I'm going to use the negative reciprocal of it. So I'm going to use a positive 7 over 2. And then to find my b value, I've got to plug in and do the math. Okay, I'm going to erase this so I can have some room to show. I'm going to say this is my x and this is my y. So negative 4 equals my slope times my x value plus b. Negative 4 equals, this is negative 2 over 1. Okay, I'm going to get negative 14 over 2. What is negative 14 divided by 2? Hopefully you said that's negative 7 plus b. So I'm going to add 7 to both sides, and I'm going to get a positive 3 equals b. So the equation would be y equals 7 halves x plus 3. Okay, that would be the equation for letter B. And then lastly, example C, this is kind of a trick. This is one you just kind of really have to think about. If the equation just has an x in it, it's just x equals negative 4. What kind of a line is that? Okay, think about what kind of a line is that. If I put that on a graph, would that be a horizontal line or would that be a vertical line? Okay, that's a vertical line on a graph. Okay, it's going to be over on this side. It's going to go up and down. Okay, now what does a line that is perpendicular to that look like? Okay, well this is a vertical line, so perpendicular to that would have to be a horizontal line. And a horizontal line just says y equals. Now we have to figure out what value goes in here, but it's going to be a y equal line. Okay, if it has to go through this point right here, what does the y value equal at that point? Okay, the y value is 5. So what's going to be perpendicular to that is a y equals 5 line. Okay, the vertical line that I was given is x equals negative 4. I came up with the horizontal line y equals 5, and it would go through that point 3,5. So really there's no math to do there. You just kind of have to think through that process. Okay, go ahead, give the worksheet a shot, and if you have any questions, make sure you're reaching out to me and joining the Zoom meetings.